I don't really like my last makeup tutorial because my baby hair was so big and ugly. So I have a new and updated tutorial for you guys. This is my signature look. I really don't do nothing else to my face. So if you're interested in seeing how I accomplish this flawless face, then just stick around. Starting off with a clean face, duh. So let's talk about my skin a little bit. My skin is combination skin. I got oily in some places, normal in some places, but my skin has been turning up on me so bad. Look at my chin. Why do I have so much bumps and marks? Questions that need answers. My dermatologist says it's because I've been drinking too much protein. But anyways, one monkey don't stop no show. We finna jump into this skin prep. Just because my T-zone, dang, I keep saying it the same way. Just because my T-zone is oily does not mean that I don't want my skin to be moisturized. So the first step in my routine was to moisturize my skin with that Wet n Wild's vitamin setting spray. And now I'm using a glyconic toner, which is going to help control my oil but still keep my skin looking glowy and not just strip it of all its natural oils. And now I'm going to use some essence. I'm mixing hyaluronic and niacinamide, really working that into my skin to plump up my fine lines and lock in the moisture. To customize my skin finish, I'm finna add some matte primer from e.l.f. into my T-zone only, because these are the areas where I get oily. So now that I'm done with my skin prep, I'm finna jump into the makeup. I go in with concealer first. This is just the LA Girl medium beige concealer. Yes, girl, I'm still with LA Girl. I'm trying to get away from Miss LA, but I don't know who to go to. There's just like so many options. So if you have some suggestions for me for like a full coverage but still like moisturizing concealer, then comment down below. But this is everywhere where I place this concealer, and I pretty much paint that concealer in so that it's already halfway blended in before I even grab my little powder puff to really blend it in. I don't know, sometimes I use this powder puff and I feel like it's very easy to blend, but today I was using it and for some reason it was not easy to blend. I don't know if I waited too long to start blending out, but I was blending out like the edges of the product first because the center is already pretty much blended in because I was like painting it in already, spreading it where I wanted it to be at. But I don't know, it was kind of this powder puff blending technique does not give me beginner friendly blending experience. I feel like maybe you should use a brush or a sponge, a damp sponge, better for you. But yeah, I just kept going with it because I've used it before and I liked how my makeup came out, but I don't know why it was so stiff today. Like my skin is moisturized. I don't know what was going on. Maybe because I don't have no foundation under this. I don't know what was going on, but I don't feel like it's beginner friendly. But this is what I did today and it still came out good. So I blended out my under eyes and my whole face actually completely. And then next I'm gonna go in with my bronzer. So this is a black opal foundation stick. Everything that I'm using is gonna be in my description box if I don't name it, and if I don't show it, do not fear, it's in my description box. So I'm using this brush and it was not my first time using it, but I don't really pick up this brush that often because I just wanted to see how it would look. And as you can see, it's looking kind of stiff, but don't worry, like y'all already saw how the makeup came out at the end, so it's not a big deal. But if I were you, I would use a little something more fluffier than this, and I put that on my, well, I guess on my cheekbones and my temples, the center of my forehead. And I like to take this as you see this brush I'm using, this is a brush that I would recommend using on your cheeks to apply your bronzer because it was just blending out easier with this other than the other brush that I was using. But as I'm blending out my cheeks, I like to flick it upwards because I needed to like create like an ombre effect, not look so harsh. And moving on to my blush, this is where I like to place my blush now because it gives my face like a very lifted look and I like it. And I'm basically just stippling that blush onto my cheeks and bringing it down. And I also like to put it around my forehead in between the highlight and the bronzer. I don't know why, I just like to do that. So now I'm gonna shape out my nose starting from the center of my eyebrows. I draw like a diagonal line, and then I finish that line by going straight down the sides of my nose. And to start blending out that product, I just push that bronzer out to the sides towards my under eyes. We're not gonna leave it like this. Do not look at me crazy. I'm gonna take this fluffy blending brush. It's like a fluffy crease brush for your eyes, and I'm gonna blend out this cream on my nose by using circular motions to buff it out. Now I'm going to go with a little bit of a lighter concealer on my under eyes and on a small brush. I don't need a super bright under eye. I don't know who convinced anybody that that actually looks good, but to me it is very ugly, and I don't need it to be that bright. I need it bright enough to look awake and alive, but I don't need it to be super bright. So after I blended it out, that's how it looked, and that is bright enough for me. I ain't running from no flash, baby, because if it's too bright you will be running from some flash. But now I am applying my foundation. I told y'all my skin on my chin was breaking out, so I need it. I cannot go without it. But I only applied it to these areas underneath my cheekbones, on top of my lip, around the contour around the highlight that's on my chin, and I blended it in with a brush just by patting it in. And I take the excess and I put that over my bronzer, and it really diffused it very nicely. Y'all know Miss Laura Mercier translucent powder has been my girl since like 2017, but I'm trying to try new things. So I've been using this Ben Nye, what is it called, colorless, I don't know, y'all just saw it, and I'm using that same powder puff, and I am pressing that into all of my highlighted areas. I really want to make sure that line down my nose is as straight as possible, because that makes your nose look even more snatchiana. And I'm really like pressing this product in. I want it to look like it's melting into my skin, and I take the excess and I put that over my smile lines before I go ahead and I do the same thing to my chin. What I can say about this powder is it's not Laura. It's not Laura. I'm sorry, it's not Laura. But it is very, very thin and very, very smooth. I feel like it makes me look airbrushed, but I don't think it controls sweat and oil that well. I feel like Miss Laura is better, but I still need to work on it some more so I can really make my final decision. But now I'm gonna set the rest of my face, so where I put my foundation, where I put my bronzer, where I put my blush, with a pressed powder that is my skin color, and the one that I'm using is the one from MAC. I'm willing to try new things, so if y'all have any recommendations on anything, put them in my description box and I will try them. And I take this powder and I put that over the bronzer on my forehead as well. This powder was just trying to make me look like a snowman, honey, like what? But now I took that same bronzer that I used to like bronze my cheeks and snatch up my nose, and I tapped that onto my eyelids as my base, and then I took a clean blending brush and I blended out the edges of where I placed that so I could like blow it out and create a smoky looking eye. This is the most you're gonna get out of me when it comes to eyeshadow. I'm gonna drag it a little bit to my temples so the color could go from my eyelids to my temples to my forehead to my cheeks. It's all cohesive, but that's the most you're gonna get out of me when it comes to eyeshadow. And in order to set that cream stick down, because y'all know the cream stick was my base, I mixed those two eyeshadow colors. That's why they was empty, almost empty in the pan, because it's all I use, and I apply them the same way that I applied the cream. I tap it onto my little bitty eyelids first, and then I clean off the brush of all the excess product, and I blend it and I drag the excess towards my temple area until it looks nice and blown out and smoky. And now we're gonna work on my eyebrows. For a second I wasn't doing nothing to my eyebrows. I got them threaded and I said this is enough for me, but girl, I got this pen from NYX, this little fine tip pen that helps me to be able to create like strokes that look like hair. So now I can actually fill in the gaps of my eyebrows without making my eyebrows look fake, and I am obsessed. It's not even a joke. I'm obsessed with this pen. I'm so happy I found it. Thank you, Jesus, I found this pen, because my eyebrows, this is the best my eyebrows have ever looked in my life. I love them so much because of this pen. I don't really care about eyebrow definition, so my eyebrows are done. Like that's the most definition that I really need. So after I fill in these empty gaps and create hair-like strokes going in the same direction as the other hair, then I just brush it out, and this helps me to see where I might need a little bit more of my fake hairs at, but then I leave it alone. I don't clean it up with concealer on the top or bottom, and you can't tell me that don't look good. Like, be honest. Don't say nothing about my blush palette. I'm not throwing it out until it's ready to go. I don't know which color I want to do today. This or that, this or that. I think I'm going to go with this one. And I'm going to use a very fluffy brush to do this. I also like using like a stippling brush, but that's for another video. And I'm going to concentrate this color lower on my cheeks. You know how when I put a cream, I kind of put it high. For this, I want most of the color to be on my cheeks, and then I'm going to tap 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 it in until I get most of that pigment off my brush. Once I feel like most of the pigment is on my face, then I can go in with circular motions and I can start blending it upwards towards my under eye area so that it looks like an ombre effect where most of the pigment is on my cheekbones and it starts getting diffused and softer as I go up. I'm using this same brush to press in that Ben Nye loose powder under my eye. I press it in completely and then I swipe away the excess, and that is how I've been doing my blush lately. I've been obsessed with blush for like forever now, but this technique is just the cherry on top. I take that same blush brush and I press in my powder and swipe it away everywhere else on my face, and then I want to get a little bronziana, so I'm using another MAC pressed powder, but this is in a deeper color, and I'm putting that over my cheekbones, under my jawline, on my forehead, everywhere where I had put that cream bronzer in the beginning. I'm using this to just make that pop out a little bit more. And I love to look glowy. I don't care if my skin is oily, I want to look glowy. So I didn't show y'all the product that I'm using because it's literally almost done and it's discontinued anyway, so I need to find a new one. So since my forehead is oily in the center, I don't put this in the center, but I put it on the outer parts of my forehead so that the outer parts of my forehead still look like a glazed donut without making me risk looking too oily throughout my day. And I have to use a really light hand when I do this, because with these type of balmy texture products, it could lift the product underneath it if you use a brush that's too dense and if you apply it too hard. So this is what my face looks like after I applied that balm. I think Danessa Myricks has one, but if you know of one, I'm in the market for a new one because mine is almost done. So please comment and let me know which one I should be using. Now I'm going to set my face. This is the same moisturizing spray that I used in the beginning, and y'all know I am generous. Like, I don't know why people only spray like 2 little pumps of setting spray. If you're going to set your face, then set your face. But see, and I'm using a little bit more. I look really, really, really glowy. So now, look at this setting spray. She used to be that girl. She used to be that girl. This is the only setting spray that I know will keep you on all night. So I want to mattify the center of my face because that's where I get oily. So I sprayed that in the center, and then I started applying my mascara. Girl, look what happened. Why would you try me like that? And why are you trying to sabotage me and get my fingers dirty? Because if I scratch my, like, why is this happening? I don't understand. But I let that dry completely, and then I took a clean spoolie and I basically like scratched it off. I see it didn't want to part ways with me. I don't know why. So I just kept trying to scratch it off until it finally let up and went about its business. To mattify my lips, I really need that lip pencil color to pick up. I used the excess powder that was on my powder puff, and then I overlined my lips. I pretty much only overline my cupid's bow, but for like the rest of my lip line, I follow my natural lip line because then it starts looking a little bit wild if you overline too much. And I also overline the bottom of my lip in the center, but off to the sides, I pretty much follow the natural shape of my lip line. Well, for the most part, I follow my natural lip line. And then you see that little gap between my fake lip and my real lip line? I gotta fill in that gap with a lip pencil as well. This is gonna make it like just look more unclockable, because sometimes overlining your lips, we all know it could look crazy. I got a video on here where it actually looked crazy, but I think I got it down pat now. So just like I had to fill in the space between my fake lip line and my real lip line on the top, I did the same thing to the bottom. And I don't know what lip color I want to put. Like, does this pink look cute? Does this pink look better? I don't know, but I ended up going with a matte NYX lip cream. I'm going to list everything on the bottom. And then on top of that, I went in with a lighter matte lipstick from Morphe, and then I topped it off with a butter gloss. But after I apply the butter gloss, I have to go back in and reinforce that lip liner a little bit more, because I don't know why you have to do this, but you just have to do it. And I gotta, if you don't make this face when you mixing it, you're not gonna mix it good. And now to really like put the cherry on top of these lips, you gotta go around the edges and clean it with some concealer. I use concealer that is pretty much my skin tone, so I don't have a cast around my lips. But after I do that, it's really cute. That color was so cute. I don't know why I went in with a lighter butter gloss, but this is cute too, so it's fine. And this is my signature makeup style. I've been doing my makeup like this for a long time, and I don't think I would ever change anytime soon. This is how I like it. This is how I feel pretty. And there was a girl that commented under one of my hair videos saying that she wants a makeup tutorial. She does not care if it's repetitive. She wants it. So had it not been for her, this probably would not even been on my radar to do, and now I'm back obsessed with makeup. So I really do appreciate that comment because I have something to be excited about. If you like this video, then like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next one. Bye.